Hi and welcome back to the British Accent Academy with me, Simon Brampton. How are you? Well, today we're going to look at two different parts of what we call prosody. So don't worry about the word prosody because it sounds a little bit technical. It really means intonation and word and sentence stress, or the rhythm of the language and how that expresses meaning. Again, it's very, very important if you want to improve your English, and we focus on the British accent aspect of prosody. Now, this is on part 3 of my native speaker pronunciation pyramid. At the very bottom, if you've seen other videos, we've done the phonemes, vowels, diphthongs and consonants, how to pronounce them. Then we've also looked at connected speech, which is the ways you can join words together. And the next level, which is a little bit more difficult, is prosody, which, as I say, is where we're going to study intonation, pitch, the way your voice goes up and down, sentence and word stress. All right, now all of these things interact at the same time, obviously, but it's easier if we focus on them one at a time. So let's move now straight to what prosody is in more detail. Well, what it means is that you are adding meaning to a sentence through the use of intonation and word and sentence stress, or the rhythm. So the way you use these can change the meaning of a sentence, even if you have the same words. Can you believe that? Let's look at intonation, which is going to be what we're talking about in this first part. And in the second video, we'll talk about sentence stress. So when I say, "Can I have a cup of coffee, please?" the way we use the intonation, the meaning is that we are being polite and we are making a request, a polite request. Or someone could show surprise and say, "Another one, another one," going up like that. With sentence stress, basically it's the rhythm. Deliver the letter, the quicker the better. We'll look more at sentence stress and word stress in the second video about prosody. So let's begin then with, what is it? Well, intonation is how our voices rise and how they fall when we're speaking. So the pitch is how high and how low your voice goes. The pitch, the difference in high and low. Now, the intonation is how it changes in a language to express meaning, as we said, and attitude, which we also said. So let's look at some more examples of meaning. So if we're just expressing fact, something that's true, then the intonation simply goes down or stays more or less flat. His mobile's over there. His mobile's over there. Just normal. John's over there. All right. But if you ask a question, and sometimes you can in English, even without the auxiliaries, in more informal English, I could say, his mobile's over there, over there. So your intonation goes up, and that signals a question. So the meaning is a question. Another thing is attitude. So let's have a look at attitude. And this can express different feelings or emotions. So if I've got the word there, so we could, it can express enjoyment when it goes up. Enjoyment. I'm enjoying this. Are you enjoying the film? Enjoying the food? Are you enjoying the video? Bored? Are you bored? Are you serious? Excitement or surprise? So it goes up. So there are so many ways in English of showing attitude by the way your tone or your pitch goes up or if it goes down. So it's very important. You cannot not communicate. As I say, even if you only use body language, but if you also then when you're talking, you add the different tones and the different pitches and the intonation, you may express something that you don't want to express. You may be trying to express enjoyment when in fact you are bored, or vice versa, which is worse. Right, next then, we use this type of stress with open-ended questions beginning with WH, the W questions, which also includes how. So this one, they go up and then they fall with, okay, then we can also we can show the stress here as well. The important words here are, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you from? Where are you from? How are you? How are you? What's the name of your company? What's the name of your company? So this is the typical intonation pattern for WH questions or open ones where you have more than yes or no. If we want to ask yes or no questions, the intonation pattern is different. Let's look at these 4 examples. Are you from England? Are you from England? This is where we genuinely don't know and we want to check yes or no. Are you from England? No, I'm not. Do you like this city? Do you like this city? Oh yes. Have you been to the UK before? Before. You notice before. Do you like that about English? The way he goes, before. Remember, you can repeat these sentences. This is not a live video. Would you like a gin and tonic? Would you like a gin and tonic? So you can imagine if you were to use the wrong intonation, it would sound a little bit strange. Would you like a gin and tonic? Would you like a gin and tonic? It's just not right. Let's look now at yes and no questions without the auxiliaries, which is more informal, but it is correct in informal situations. Want some more? Want some more? For example, coffee, cake, gin and tonic. You hungry? You hungry? Another coffee? Or you say, another coffee? Another coffee? So again, the upward intonation is a yes or no question. So you expect it yes or no in the answer. And it's important that the intonation goes up, because if not, it will sound a little bit strange. Now, another area that we love is question tags. Is that right? Do you like question tags? Well, these are real, genuine questions. We don't know the answer. So let's look at this. And when we don't know the answer, intonation goes up at the end on the question tag. The meeting starts at 5 p.m, doesn't it? There's a little pause when it's a real question. The meeting starts at 5 p.m, goes down, doesn't it? You're from Spain, aren't you? Your brother's an accountant, isn't he? So you can go back and repeat these. So these are real questions. You don't know the answer. So it goes, your brother's an accountant. Pause, isn't he? An alternative to these traditional question tags is right. If you use right or correct, then you don't have to learn these combinations of auxiliaries with subjects. So you can say, your brother's an accountant, right? It's up to you. In Britain, people tend to use the auxiliary with a subject, but more and more, especially young people, they're using right and correct, which are more typical in the United States. Now, let's have a look at these question tags where you know the answer, or you're pretty sure, but you just want to confirm the answer. Now, in this case, they go down because you're confirming. You're not asking a yes or no question, although it looks like it. So let's have a look at these. The meeting starts at 5 p.m, doesn't it? Confirmation. It drops. You're expecting the answer that you're expecting. You're expecting yes. You're not expecting yes or no, it's yes. You're from Spain, aren't you? And you notice no pause between the phrase and the auxiliary. It just goes together like one sentence. You're from Spain, aren't you? Aren't you? Aren't you? You're from Spain, aren't you? If it's not, if I'm not sure, then remember I'd say, you're from Spain, aren't you? Aren't you? Going up at the end. Your brother's an accountant, isn't he? Would be the real question. Your brother's an accountant, isn't he? Your brother's an accountant, isn't he? Or if I put it really together using the connected speech that you might want to study in the previous video, then I'd put accountant, isn't he? Your brother's an accountant, isn't he? Imagine saying that, isn't he? Your brother's an accountant, isn't he? Which is the normal way people would say it in Britain. Again, you can use the word right or correct if you really want to. Your brother's an accountant, right? Much easier, isn't it? So, if you're not sure which auxiliary to use and if it's positive or negative, then just use right. Right? Now, another area where intonation is used is with lists. So, here's a shopping list. So the intonation goes up, 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 and then goes down on the last item on the list. So, I need to buy some vegetables, some fruit, some milk, and a bottle of beer. Can you do that? I need to buy some vegetables, some fruit, some milk, and a bottle of beer, which concludes, when the intonation drops, it concludes a sentence or a meaning. So let's look at intonation in sentences where we have two clauses. Again, this is very, very important, and it also relates to what I said before. So the first clause, Santa Claus, the first clause goes up and the second one goes down and concludes the complete phrase. So this is not only the best product, but also the cheapest. And also you can give a little pause. This is another thing, especially when you're giving presentations or speaking in public. When you pause, when you stop just for a moment, it can give a dramatic effect to the way you're speaking. This is not only the best product, but it's also the cheapest. Na 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 na, na 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 na. As the Chinese say, we're living in interesting times. So we go up and then we conclude. If there were more than one clause, we go na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na. How do you feel about those? Is that the way you use intonation at the moment or not? If not, then, well, you can practice with these phrases. Next, we're going to look at, positive surprise. Ooh. Look at these then. This goes up for positive surprise. It's a positive thing. I've just got a promotion. Oh, up at the end. That's amazing. You're not serious. That's amazing. You're not serious. Yes, I am. So that's when you hear people being excited, then often the voice goes up. Another thing, the opposite, negative surprise. Can surprise be negative? It's like disappointment. This is where the intonation falls. Oh, I don't believe it. My football team has lost again. Obviously, if you're a supporter of Arsenal like me, some seasons it happens and some seasons it doesn't. Luckily, at the moment, things are going well. But I don't want to speak too soon. You can't be serious. They just lost against a second division team. You can't be serious. Oh, for God's sake. For God's sake. So, if you want to express disappointment or negative surprise, then your voice should go down at the end of the sentence. So, let's have a look at intonation when you're angry. Very often, it's a flat intonation, it falls a little at the end, and you often stress the word that you want to emphasize. So if you're in a restaurant and you haven't been happy, or if you're in a hotel and you want to speak to the person in charge, I want to speak to the manager. I want to speak to the manager. Okay, chill out. We are not happy with the service here. We're not happy with the service here. Goes down. This is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. Acceptable. So it goes down at the end. So if you want to express anger, do not go up at the end, because they won't know if you're angry, surprised, or something else, or asking a question. So let's see if we can remember why intonation is so important. It's because it conveys, it communicates meaning. So if you don't use it properly, you might, as I said, express the wrong meaning or confuse the poor listener. And whatever happens, the person listening to you will always give or assign a meaning to what you're saying. So if you say it wrong, the person will believe that you're saying it correctly in most cases. They won't make any excuses because they think you are a foreigner. So that's important to know. How can you improve this intonation? Basically, the first thing is what we've done here is become aware or conscious of the fact that it exists in the first place. And when you do, you'll begin to hear native speakers use it on podcasts, on YouTube videos, films, TV series, etc. And maybe even in real life. It's a good idea to practice as much as you can, not just for intonation, but for all pronunciation patterns. You could record yourself and play it back and listen. And basically expose yourself to a lot of English, and this will help you assimilate it or absorb it naturally. So that's the end of part 1 of Prosody intonation patterns. In part 2 we're going to be looking at word and sentence stress. And if you want to learn more about learning English in general and pronunciation in particular, my latest book, Cómo se aprende un idioma, las 7 estrategias de éxito, or how to learn a language, 7 strategies of highly successful language learners, will help you learn even more quickly. So that's everything. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.